Hey y'all, we're going live today with Effie Gerritsen, who is a portrait photographer based in Amsterdam but has lived in places like Japan and visited places like Lebanon to document through video and photography. She has worked with nonprofits and to travel the world and clicks street portraits of locals. She loves storytelling, and taking portraits of people really inspires her, and I'm sure it will inspire you. Hey Effie,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was just doing your introduction,
Okay.
and I'm excited to jump right into it.
Yeah, my full name is Evelien, but everybody knows me as Effie. So also on my Instagram account, I called myself a girl called Effie because most of the people know me by my nickname. They don't really know me by my full name. But when I started it as a photographer, I decided, okay, let's use my full name. Makes it a little bit more professional, I thought back then. Um, and
Like the opposite of social media now.
Yeah. Well, on social media, I already used my nickname, so I didn't want to change that anymore at one point. But I'm a portrait photographer. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm from Amsterdam. And yeah, since 2019, I've been traveling a lot, working as a photographer, especially for nonprofit organizations. It's been a whole journey to get there, but maybe we can go through that and talk a little bit about that. And yeah, besides taking portraits, I like to travel and click street portraits of people that I meet in the streets. Most fun if we don't speak the same language, but we do create a cool image. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And then recently I went to Beirut to do a documentary, a photo documentary about the life in Beirut 6 weeks after the blast. So that was very interesting as well.
Wow, most people are leaving Beirut, and you're going there to take.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, a
How
lot
does
of
it feel like as a foreigner going into a place that is like suffering right now?
Well, I've been to Beirut in 2010. I had the opportunity to work with some of the students from the Lebanese International University. I was also a student back then. And I stayed in touch with them because I quite quickly discovered that through the internet you can stay in touch with everybody all around the world.
Yeah.
So, and then I stayed in touch with them. And then on the 1st of August this year, I saw these videos on the news. I was with my dad. We were watching the news, and I saw these videos, and I felt like, oh shit, this is very extreme. What's happening there? So, I didn't have the courage to contact my friends directly because I felt like, yeah, what if they're in the hospital or somebody from their family or their house is completely destroyed? So I waited a couple of days before I contacted them. But yeah, then they were like really enthusiastic. One of the guys is called Rawat, the other one is called Jihad. And and they told me like, hey, you're this photographer, you like to travel, why don't you come over here and we work together? So I was like, yeah, let's do that. So I booked a flight to go like 1 week later, but then Lebanon went into lockdown, so I decided to wait for another month to go there. But that month gave me a good time to really think about what I wanted to do there, what kind of photography I wanted to do. Because the first moment when I saw all the images, I felt like, okay, I need to go there and go to all these NGOs and shoot content for them. But now I just thought about it and narrowed my topics down, which was really nice, really good. um, Going there was, yeah, was very exciting, to be honest, because yeah, you feel like you're going into this war zone. But 6 weeks after the blast, it wasn't like that anymore. Of course, when I arrived, it was on a Friday night, so it was already dark outside. But when we arrived at the airport, we all had to do this COVID test. The whole plane had to do it. And then on Saturday, my friend Rawat, he picked me up. I haven't seen him for over 10 years, so I just saw him again. But you cannot give each other a hug or say I feel sorry for you. And then we drove to the harbor, and I saw all these buildings, and there were like no windows, nothing. Like the buildings are still there, but all the windows are gone. We drove past the gas station. The gas station is completely gone. We went to this garage for beautiful Audis, completely destroyed. When you see a church at the beginning, you feel like, oh, okay, this church did well. But then if you look properly, you see that the whole ceiling of the church is collapsed. So that was, in the beginning, it was weird for me because it felt like they were building up a city, but there were no windows yet.
Yeah.
There was no glass in it. But that was not the case, of course. It was all blown away. So that took me a little while to make that connection and see like, okay, this is because of the blast that happened, but I was not there. So yeah, you try to adapt to that. And then to see the people traumatized and the way that they're traumatized, the way that they're suffering, that really broke my heart at one point. I do remember I arrived on Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday we were working. On Monday we went to an NGO, and Monday night I called my friends, and I was really angry at one point. I was like frustrated.
Yeah.
I could feel their frustration.
I feel like so many people are frustrated now for so many different causes. Whatever cause you care about, every day you wake up and there's something like new to be infuriated about. So the only platform like we have that really pulls this out is social media. Like I saw this thing yesterday that said it was like racism, and then it had an iceberg, and it just had the tip of the iceberg, and it said our photos like at the tip.
Yeah.
And racism was like this big under the ground. So that's the only thing that we're seeing.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk with you because I felt like, you have so much experience in this, but so many people, maybe they're not, they're just on social media like regularly and they're not a part of it. And you saw things like with Black Lives Matter, how everybody screenshotted the black thing, but then it's like nobody knows what to do. Do you have advice for either if you're running your own charity or nonprofit, or you just care about a subject, like what can you actively do to really make a difference? Like what is the channels that you use? How do you get attention? Like how do you think about the storytelling part of it?
Well, it's a very good question. So my business is not only about photography. I'm also I call myself a media consultant. I don't know if it's the right term for it, but what I want to do is I want to make a change, a shift in the way of thinking, especially for nonprofit organizations. So a lot of nonprofit organizations now, they see themselves as a fundraising, so they feel like they have to ask you for money. But it doesn't work like this anymore for our generation and the younger generation, because we're also sometimes struggling getting a good job. I mean, prices of houses are going up. Life in general is much more expensive than if we compare it to at least my parents are they're 65 plus, but compared to them, it's impossible to buy a house in Amsterdam. So for us, giving money to a non-profit organization is not something that you feel like, oh, I would love to do it, but I don't have the money. So to reach this audience, you need to think about a different way. And first of all, everybody in the world, even if you go to the most rural areas, people have a smartphone and they have internet. They have access to internet. So you have to use this as an advantage for your own marketing. And then especially social media is really driven on storytelling and images. So a lot of nonprofit organizations, they have wonderful images to tell, but they just lack the knowledge on how to spread that and how to do that. So that is a gap that I found and that I feel I can help them out with. So for me, it's important to capture positive images of their projects. So not negative ones, not children crying or whatsoever. Of course, when that happens, like a blast in Beirut directly the couple of days later or that day, of course you see images of people crying, and that's good. But later on, you don't want to suck into the misery constantly, especially for nonprofit organizations. It's much more inspiring and educational if you show people the goods that you're doing, the good things that you're doing. And social media is almost a free marketing tool. You can do so much with social media. You don't have to spend hundreds of euros to reach an audience. It's the thing on how to reach it, and there you have different ways.
There is an echo chamber, though. I mean, it is hard to get new people to see your stuff, especially with Instagram changes and everything.
Yeah, no, it is. It definitely is, and it's also the thing is that people use social media more as an exposure, as in look at how amazing my life is. But I do feel if a nonprofit organization sees itself much more as a brand, with brand ambassadors, offering really nice content, even maybe next step, I'm just saying like offering a product later on, can be a photo book or whatsoever, or a t-shirt which is connected to your organization, then you have something to offer instead of asking for the money. And I do feel for our generation that's much more important to do so. So when I came up with this whole concept for my own business, I also realized like I don't want them to be depending on me. I want them to learn themselves. So before COVID, I thought, okay, I'm gonna give workshops in storytelling and how to capture photos with your mobile phone and how to do the basics to create organic followers on social media. But unfortunately, because of COVID, we cannot do any workshops at the moment. So I'm busy working on an e-learning program that they can follow. And in the e-learning program, I just want to teach them how to grow organically on social media.
So how do you teach that, like get over that fear? Because like they maybe are scared, like there's so much that can be said like about humans feeling like not like insecure, but like they're just always second guessing. And when you're in social media, you have to constantly just be putting out and not like thinking as much about it or not overthinking it. Do you have any kind of tips for nonprofits that are very thoughtful, very intellectual kind of thought process versus this kind of...
Yeah, that's a good question. There are a few really good ones, but I haven't prepared that question
like
so well.
Tell somebody take photos on your phone, but the actual act of doing it and then posting it is something else.
Yeah, but I do think, and that counts for every organization or company that decides to do more with social media, and a lot of them are already doing that, of course, for 10 years. First of all, you always need to find somebody in your organization that is willing to learn these things. At least there has to be one person in the organization that is willing to learn how to invest in social media marketing. But there are a few, but I don't have names there at this moment for you. But there are a few organizations that, for example, shoot photos of wildlife. And what they do is they post the photos of wildlife, they post them on their account, and they ask their followers, which photo do you like the most this month? And then followers can vote for the photo that they like the best. They make an outline of that photo and they print it on a t-shirt, and then they sell the t-shirt. Yeah, that is a wonderful construction to work with, because your followers will wear the t-shirt, so other people will ask, hey, where's that t-shirt from? I really like it. Oh, that is from that and that organization. Follow them on Instagram, and they get into the whole voting for t-shirts and prints. And so I think that is a really good one.
Yeah, now there's these, like, people don't know about print on demand. So you don't even need to make the t-shirts and spend the money on the actual images. I mean, on the actual products, because you can just design it using something like Canva. And some of these free photo sites, photo editing softwares like Canva. and
Yeah.
then you can design it, and then if people buy it through Shopify or one of these other products, for less than $100, you can have a store up. You can have
Yeah.
it linked with with the products, and then people can buy it. But it's that the fact that these are not available to the nonprofit cause world yet. This is for businesses and for
Yeah.
brands, and they
Yeah.
have not figured that out. And also, there's guilt because they don't want to cheapen their mission too.
Yes, but like we're talking about t-shirts now, for example, but you can also talk about if your organization plants a lot of trees. You're there in Chile and they plant trees, and you want to have more awareness for this. You can also, when you grow on social media, you can also offer your followers a long 2 weeks camp where they can all come together and go and plant the trees. They maybe not contribute in money as you were hoping for at the beginning, but at least they're contributing in an experience and helping you out with your organization. And I feel that our generation is much more interested in experiences than just giving $5 each month to this child that will go to school, and then every year I get a letter, and every year the letter is the same, and I don't know where the money really goes to. So I do feel that is a way to reach people. And one online Instagram account that I like is Karmagawa. And they do fundraising for a lot of different organizations. So they post a lot of things, and they try to do fundraising for them, which is very interesting. So something you can check out.
Have you found a company that can help make books for nonprofits?
Not really, but the similar thing what you're saying is, for example, with the t-shirts, there are these organizations that or there are these businesses that do it online and it's on demand. So, but I always recommend for nonprofits is make like a sign up list, so you can see how many people sign up for this book. You just make one print, you promote the book, and then you make a list, and people can sign up for it. And then you know how many books you have to order, so you're not stuck with big piles of books that you're not gonna sell.
Yeah, I haven't found a book printing. I found stationery printing through a company called Gear Launch on Shopify.
Yeah.
Like we made these products, Black Lives Matter t-shirts through that, and it's really easy to have like all sorts of products that you can, mugs, foam covers, stationery, signs, posters, sweatshirts, the kids' clothing, literally everything. It costs $4 a month to have it plug in on Shopify.
Shopify is really nice.
Google Print on Demand, and then you'll see a list of companies that will do that for you.
Yeah, I think Shopify is a good one. Yeah, and Print on Demand also works. But it doesn't have
countries that are not like a country like Lebanon. Like they don't have you can't buy something and get it delivered right away.
No.
So what should they do? And like if you're in a country like that.
Well, you can also look for locals, like local organizations that can help you with it. You can say maybe you have a book printer, a local book printer around the corner that you know, and you can just create a deal with that person. Of course, I think in the beginning you need to invest, but you always need to do that if you want to create a little bit of exposure or create a product. And as long as you can do that as an organization, you should, because in the long term, you're going to get profit out of it. If it's not possible for yourself to do so, I can totally understand that it's also an option for nonprofits that they don't have the money to make an investment. They can also look for other organizations that are willing to work together, to work for collaborations. But to do so, you need to be, you need to have a big social, not per se an audience, but people need to find you. So, for example, we had this new company in the Netherlands. I think it's like 6 or 7 years ago, and they were making frames for glasses, and much cheaper than the regular other businesses that did so. But what they said, for example, is okay, when you come to our shop, you bring your old pair of glasses, you give the old pair of glasses to us, and we collect all of them and we send them to an NGO in India. And in India, they will use the frames of your glasses for children or adults, and so that the organization in India could provide them with a new frame of glasses. So that's also something you can do as a business. First of all, I feel that many small businesses could apply much more and work together with NGOs, but also as an NGO, you can reach out and work together. I do believe in a lot of collaborations.
How do you do that on social media? Like, what's a good example?
The glass company I was talking about is called Ace and Tate. And but they did this like 5 years ago, but they just posted a lot like, hey, if you buy a new pair of glasses with us this weekend, we will make sure that your old pair of glasses will go to India, or 50% of your glasses will go to provide glasses for children in India. So yeah, I think that is a good way to do it.
What about if it's not, there's no physical product? What if it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, there's no physical product. This is a good question as well. But then I would reach much more for experiences.
Yeah.
So try to inspire and educate people and invite them to come to your organization and just be there for 2 weeks and help out. If you do so, if you want to reach the people, you can do that by taking, like, making sure that you have like really cool, nice images of your organization and the story that you're telling with your organization and what you want to explain to them. And then if I follow you, let's say I follow you already for weeks or for months, and I see these beautiful images or cool images or nice images, and I don't know what to do this summer holiday because my boyfriend just broke up and all my friends are going on a holiday, most likely I will choose to go there and work as a volunteer. I honestly believe, but that's something that's within me. But doing volunteer work is so good for your mindset and for who you are as a person, because it really expands your horizon and it gives you another outlook on life. So I would always recommend people to do so. It doesn't have to be on the other side of the world where you have to pay for a ticket for $1,000. It can also be in your neighborhood. It's also fine, whatever feels good to you.
Have you tried any paid advertising?
Yes, but I don't feel that. I feel a little bit that paid advertising, especially on Instagram, I would not recommend per se, but because I feel like it's a little bit getting addicted to it. So you do one paid advertising, and then you get, for example, a lot of new followers or a lot of likes or whatever exposure. And then the next post that you do, you don't get that exposure. So you're like, oh, I didn't do well. Okay, well, the next one I do paid advertising again, and then paid advertising again. I think if you do paid advertising, which is fine, I don't say that it's wrong, but if you do, be very specific about the target group that you want to reach. So do paid advertising when you really have, like when you're selling your new product or a very important thing that you want to share with a specific type of audience.
Yeah, I think the product advertising is much easier than just sign up if you're trying to get people to sign up or pay attention.
Yeah.
Even on things like Kickstarter, I don't recommend, unless you have a product, to even do it. I raised, like a long time ago, I raised $32,000 on Kickstarter for a cause about protests, which is how I started my business. And it was literally like pulling every single hair out of my head each day until that thing was done. And then I realized I was like, why are all these people like doing so well? And I realized it was because they had these physical products and they were
Yeah.
actually ones that people wanted. So it's like, if you're going to do that, if you're going to really put that effort, be careful, because otherwise it's like a bank, because they're basically forcing you on a certain milestone. Otherwise you don't get the funding. And I mean, the other ones are easier, but have you ever run any campaigns like that?
No, I was thinking on running a campaign for my Beirut trip, just to see what it would do for, like, just a small amount, just to see what it would do for the exposure of my website, and the whole documentary itself. And I still want to do it, but I haven't done it yet. But I have a really close friend. She's from India, but I know her already for almost 10 years. And she's really into digital marketing. So she gives me advice. Because to be honest, the only online marketing that I do is just organic marketing, like grow from hashtag strategies or tagging, or making sure that somebody will repost your images. And even for me, sometimes it happens, I have this one image on my Instagram account that the image got reposted somewhere, I don't know where because you cannot see, but I got 22 new followers only because of this image. So I don't know where it is, but it's on a account.
Might be on Scopio. So tell me about hashtags. What's like the latest with hashtags? What should people know?
I think you should stick with hashtags that really have an impact, or really are really connected to the topic in your photo. Also, something I noticed, for example, is Instagram gives you this timeline on when you should post and when you shouldn't. I don't always feel that is correct. And stick with hashtags that you feel work. Like, for example, if I post something about food, then it doesn't make sense to do a hashtag about kite surfing, because nobody's gonna, like, everybody who's following the kite surfing hashtag, they see the photo and they're like, okay, whatever, they scroll away from it. So it has to be
like, what about, like, say, like Black Lives Matter or the Lebanon explosion? What would you do for those two subjects?
for
like Lebanon, hashtag Lebanon, or
hashtag Lebanon, hashtag Beirut, Lebanon, hashtag Beirut explosion, those kind of things.
But you just do that because it's a topic now. But if it was like in America, you wouldn't say like Texas or something, you know?
No, that makes sense. Or you can also do a little bit of research on the topic itself and see what kind of hashtags other people use. I also feel like tagging works pretty well. If you tag, you have some of these Instagram pages that repost images. So you try to get into that. So that kind of things, these kind of things work. But yeah,
how many should they add together?
I always think about for hashtags around 12 to 15 hashtags. If you can, I'm not that creative, so I cannot come up with 12 to 15. So most of the time I have the hashtag explore the world, or in this case explore Beirut or explore Lebanon, and especially for NGOs, it's always good to have their own hashtag. So, so if your NGO is called Ocean Reefs, then do hashtag Ocean Reefs constantly. Constantly use that hashtag, because then the hashtag will grow also.
Does it take a long time for it to grow, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it takes time. Yeah, definitely takes time. But it can work, especially when other people are starting using it also.
Yeah. What about email? Like, I love email. I think it's so powerful. How do they grow their email list, or what system should they use for email? How should they be more in touch with their audience? There's so many causes I care about and nobody emails me. Like, they don't. I would love for them to email me and tell me, hey,
Yeah.
Christina, this is what we're doing to help X, Y, or Z. So
Yeah, I think it's interesting to create a link in your profile, for example, your Facebook or Instagram profile. Just create a Mailchimp link that people can sign up, and then you can email them these newsletters of the things that you're doing. But I do believe in the power of emailing, and also something I noticed that was working a lot here in Amsterdam in the nightlife scene was WhatsApp groups. So if you had like an illegal party, then you had this WhatsApp group, and then all these people were in it, but only the founder of the group could post. So it was not your phone constantly ringing, but you could just see, okay, the party is at that and that time, there and there, and you can just join the WhatsApp group. You could invite other people. So
you just say nobody's allowed to respond, or you can actually make a setting.
You can make a setting, but yeah, people, you couldn't respond. So they said, like, if you want to add people, let us know. Just send a personal message and we can add them to the group. But the host of the WhatsApp group was the only one posting, which is good, because if the group is over 100 people, you don't want your phone to be ringing constantly.
How many people can you even have in a WhatsApp group?
I don't know, to be honest, but I do remember that this one, especially in our COVID time, we had some illegal parties. I cannot tell this, but some illegal parties in Amsterdam. I didn't go to any one of them, but I was in these groups.
Yeah.
So I could see, like, they were saying, okay, the local.
Applied it to the nonprofit, like.
Yeah, but it works.
People should hire this girl. That's the most crazy thing I ever heard of.
Yeah, but it works. Like Mailchimp also works. It works, and that's a shift that I want to make for the nonprofits. As long as it works for a business, why would it not work for you?
They should start teaching these skills. You know, I remember in my grad school, I took this course, nonprofit management, and it was like 70% of the operating costs are spent on like the business, and only 30% are mainly spent on the cause that they care about. And I was like, this is stupid. Like, they're doing this wrong. So we like looked at all these balance sheets, and I was like, this is crazy. But it's just not taught in any of these, places. So you have to be creative. You have to teach yourself.
But also a thing is what I noticed, and that's why
I think is the best. Like the UN has the best social media, I think, out of anyone. Maybe because they have so many celebrities.
Yeah. Yeah, they did really well on that one. Yeah, no, definitely. But the thing is, I noticed in 2019, I started doing a lot of nonprofit photography. So I was doing photography for a nonprofit. And then I gave him like this bunch of photos, but they never did anything with it. So later on, I asked them, hey, you're not sharing my images. Are they not good enough, or is something wrong? No, we love your images, but we're just using it for our book that we're going to spread in our neighborhoods. It's like, why are you doing that? You have internet, Instagram, or you have Facebook, you can expose, and you can just reach people and reach a much bigger audience. So that's why I came up with the whole business of helping them. But they have no clue, and that is also a thing. A lot of founders of nonprofits are older people who are not interested in social media. Yeah. So if they hire somebody who's much younger who tells them, hey, we need to do something with social media, and they're like, no, we do it always this way. At the end of the year, we do our annual report that we send by email, or we send in the mail, but it's going to be printed because people like print. No, you need the younger generation to support you, and how to reach them. Social media is the way to do so.
Have you seen anybody use TikTok or podcasts?
I do recommend for nonprofits to use podcasts. And I'm really into the live things now, so Instagram lives. So that is something I'm gonna put on my list. But I haven't seen it that much. But I do feel that it's, yeah, I do know that there are podcasts for some, like Doctors Without Borders. They do podcasts once in a while. They talk with photographers that went along with them on trips, or with people that work with them. So they do it. The podcast is a thing. But it's interesting because podcasts are already so old. But now recently, in the past 2 years, it became a thing. Like, people are using it a lot, and it's not only used by these inspirational gurus, but a lot of people are into podcasts now. So I'm happy with that, and it makes sense because if you think about it, for example, if you're on a television show, you only have 5 minutes to tell your story, and in a podcast, you can easily talk for an hour, maybe 1 hour and a half, and in these live sessions as well.
Yeah, maybe that's even better for older people that don't want to be on video. And they don't want to put their face on it, which is fine, totally fine. And also, you just need your phone. Like, you can do a whole thing on a voice note or a Zoom call, and you can literally record a Zoom call and then use that. There's ones like Anchor, which you can just upload, and they distribute it across all of the platforms for you. So you upload it in place. So yeah, I hope that more nonprofits use that, because it would be nice to know, like, in real time what's going on. Like, I would love to know, like we did, Noor did that donation to 2 charities there. If I heard every day what was happening with that money, that would be great. Or like the people that donated, they could see that, because we just got like one picture of when we donated, and then it was like, and then we don't hear anything anymore. So podcasts would be great. I encourage it.
No, me too. I think podcasts can be really interesting also because people can listen to it in their own time, when they're maybe going to work, in the metro, or whenever they want to listen to it. And also with these live sessions. But I noticed, for example, both of my parents are 65 plus. They have Instagram, and now that I'm into these live things, they are following it a little bit more because I send it to them, but they don't understand how to get here at this point. Like, they don't understand that you have to click it through. So for nonprofits, I do think podcasts can work, and the cool thing about podcasts is you can create a whole series. So it doesn't have to be one. You can do different interviews with people from your organizations, or people from your team that work in the field or whatsoever. So
and then you can take that, and a lot of like a recommendation is too, you can go on like one of these platforms like Upwork or Fiverr and get the whole thing translated. What is it called? The audio. I know what you mean. Not transformed either, but transmitted. Transcripted. Yeah, so you can get it transcripted for like $5 basically. And then you can put it on your blog, and then you can have the full interview on your blog too. So then it's a reading material. Then you can share that on LinkedIn.
But also the thing is, like, how easily you and I talk about having a blog. How far away is that from NGO that is, for example, in South Africa, and they have like this minimum website that they worked on once in 2007, and it's now 20.
Like, you can write on places like Medium. Then they have their own section. You don't even need your own.
No, they don't even need to find a new landing page for their blog, but even getting them to the point, like, hey, you should write a blog, or you can share. But also with the podcast, you can share them in your MailChimp emails that you're gonna send out every month. So by creating one photo, for example, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on your website, you can share it on your blog, you can share it on your Instagram. So the how do you say it, like, the effort for making that one picture gives you exposure and at least 3 different platforms. And I wish that people think that way a little bit more, and that they don't feel like, oh yeah, we need so much content. No, you don't.
Also, I wish there was like more, as you said, collaboration. So we have a bunch of nonprofits that use Scopio for images, but all the pictures that people are submitting are like of really sad kids, or just like you said, that old school way in which we find it. And so it would be great to have an initiative of like, if one NGO does a photo shoot, they can submit it, whether it is on Scopio or whether it is in some sort of shared folder with all their local organizations. So then they can have like hundreds of pictures that they can share in their whole community. Instead, and this is an issue, just like you said, they just sit there, these photos, but then when people want to go and talk about that subject or help, they can't because they don't have any materials to do that.
They don't,
so just the Dropbox folder and having everybody be able to contribute or something, WhatsApp group, anything that you can. I would love to see more like content sharing like that.
Yeah, but I think therefore a platform as Scopio is so interesting, because they can go on there and they just can get the images, as long as they don't use it for commercial purposes, which they don't. They use it for promoting their nonprofits, so that is fine.
Even us, like, I would love if more people that had these pictures would come and contribute them, because they're just like, no, these pictures are for the organization. And I'm like, yeah, but there's so many people that want, like, we have the photographer in Gaza. And I'm like, you know how many people want to find out what life is like in Gaza? Like, they really need to see it. Like, there's no other way around it. The only way to see it is through UNRWA.
Yeah, the only thing sometimes you're stuck with is because, but it doesn't have to. But you have to have the permissions. But on the other hand, you don't, because as long as you shoot something on the streets, for example, you don't really need the permission, because it can always be an artistic purpose. So if somebody wants to sue you, you can tell them like, yeah, but it's an artistic purpose. So it was always an artistic photo. So I don't.
It's editorial. Well, I think the next generation will be much more comfortable with photography, and hopefully it will change, especially when it comes around to children's images. Those are the most sensitive and very difficult to get. But it's, again, very hard to raise money or advocate for a cause if people can't see what's happening.
No, and that's the whole thing. You need to see. So, for example, during the lockdown, I went to this elderly home where they have people who are still dealing with mental health or addiction. And just because I wanted to take photos, so I went there and I took photos of them. But I know I cannot do anything with these photos. I just share them with this organization. But even for them, they cannot use them on social media, because they feel like, okay, we're dealing with privacy purposes. So we're limited by the privacy of our clients. But then we're talking about clients, but kids going to school and get a meal from a nonprofit every single day. Yeah. It's okay.
Ask them for permission, and
I did so. I did with some nonprofits. We ask parents for permission first. Yeah,
that's the hardest part for sure. That's not easy, especially with this like concept of like the foreigner coming in and like using us. Like that has been too much on the photography industry. And it's associated somehow with war and. I don't feel that way when I go and I travel and I go to these kind of places, and because I work together with the nonprofit organization itself, so they take me to these places. So when I was in India, for example, and I went to Hyderabad 3 days to work together with Teach for Change, they brought me in these 3 days. We visited 7 different schools. Then the kids are looking at me like, who is this alien? And you have blonde hair and your skin is white, and I've never seen that, and you speak a different kind of language than we do. But I didn't feel like, oh, I'm this attention seeker looking for sad children.
Also
Yeah.
because that's not the photos that I want to take. So I have this basic rule with myself that I never, never, never take photos of people that are in misery. I don't want to take any photos over your misery. So if somebody is begging on the street with a broken leg, I'm not the person taking photos of them, because it doesn't make sense. They're as much human as I am. So I wouldn't like it if somebody did that to me.
That's it. Well, on that note, Effie, I think thank you so much for everything.
Yes.
So much information that I hope people can listen to and learn from
Yeah.
and apply. And I hope to see you soon. And let's do a
Yeah.
follow up on the Lebanon.
Yeah.
Lebanon
Let's
stuff.
do so. Yeah, let's do that. I have good news because Vice published an article, Vice Netherlands, but they just sent me an email that they're going to translate the article into English and they're going to publish it worldwide. So I'm super
Wow.
excited for that.
Is
Yeah.
that on video or photos?
This photos and interviews with the musicians that I spoke to and that I took photos of. So yeah, I'm super happy.
That's awesome. When it's out, share it with us and we'll post it for everyone.
Yeah. I will do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, eh?
Bye, Effie.
Bye bye.
Yeah.